Beer. Beer. Bong.
Battle
Beer.
axe.
Bong.
Battle axe.
Beer. Bong.
Battle axe.
Beers, bongs, and battle axes. Beers, bongs, and battle axes. Beers, bongs, and battle axes. Beers, bongs, and battle axes.
Why do we always fuck these things up, though?
I don't know.
But,
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Here we are.
Yeah, no great intros this time. Just,
Half in the bag.
no! We're gonna get sued!
My cirrhosis is killing me.
Wait, did they release a new Half in the Bag, or are you just getting caught up?
They did release a new one, actually. It was,
I know they released a Best of the Worst,
Oh. Shit, you're right.
which I think those are my favorite.
No, everything they do. I'm sorry. We're both huge Red Letter Media fans around these parts. These guys
yeah.
are slowly becoming like my idols.
And they finally got over 1 million, I think, subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which, congrats to them.
But yeah, the reviews are. I love those, and the Half in the Bag, of course. But yeah, even the fucking Best of the Worst, all good shit.
Oh, yeah. Especially when they do shit like Plinketto and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where they have the big Plinko board to pick their movies.
Yeah.
That shit's fantastic. But,
Anyhoozle.
yeah, welcome to another Beers, Bongs, and Battle Axes.
Oh, I couldn't finish it.
That's
And Battle
okay,
Axe.
you tried. Yeah, another movie review episode. We saw a couple films this time.
Because why the fuck not?
Well, hey, we did that with our first one, remember? We did Lords of Chaos and American Satan.
That one was planned, though.
Yeah.
This one kind of just happened.
That's
Because it was going to be Color Out of Space, but then we both saw Guns Akimbo, and we're like, well, we have to talk about that fucking movie.
I mean, both of these movies we're talking about this week, like, I went in with very low expectations or no expectations at all, and was pleasantly surprised by both of these movies.
Fucking A.
First one we're going to be talking about today is Color Out of Space, the Nicolas Cage version that just came out.
like Mandy 2.0.
It really is, though. And then another one.
No, in a good way. Like,
Definitely.
Mandy was fucking awesome, too.
Mandy's really... isn't it the same director, too?
It very well could be. It had the same feel and everything.
Oh,
so I
yeah,
wouldn't be
same
surprised.
sensibilities and whatnot.
And even visually.
But it was good. And then the second one we're going to be talking about today is The Color Out of Space. Or... Fuck.
It's happening again, Michael.
No, this is the first time I've come to one of these recordings like high in a while.
Oh.
So my brain's... only 3 of the 4 cylinders are firing right now. But no, the other one is from a New Zealand filmmaker. Can't pronounce his name. But Guns Akimbo, which it's been a minute since I've seen an action movie that I dug as much as I saw this movie.
Mm-hmm. It was good. Great, even.
Yeah, well...
I have to remake a top 10 list every goddamn year because something else pops up.
Oh, yeah.
But I really want to put Guns Akimbo in my top 10.
I don't know about ever, but definitely for top 10 action films.
It just did it for me. Anyway, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I guess we'll just get into the Color Out of Space first, which, for any of you uncultured swine out there who don't know this,
Hello.
This is one of the
me.
more prominent H.P. Lovecraft stories from way back in the 1920s and 30s. And, yeah, this adaptation of it is a modern retelling, obviously.
Right, because the
Starring-
original's 20s or something? In that time
it might
period,
even be
or-
set in the late 1800s, honestly, because it's about a farmer in
That kind of would have
New
been a little
England.
bit better, though.
I mean, it would, but you got to take into consideration how expensive period pieces are.
Sure. But I think that would have been really cool to see.
Oh, definitely. But if you go that route, then you definitely can't get Nicolas Cage to do it.
Just slap a pilgrim outfit on him. It'll work.
I don't know. Have Nick Cage talking old
Visual
English.
accuracy, sure. As far as the rest of it, just a bunch of
But
fucking...
see, if you're going for a period piece like that, I think you need to take it a little more seriously as
Sure,
well.
yeah.
Which, that's one of the things I do like about The Color Out of Space, is it doesn't take itself too seriously,
Fair enough.
while also being one of the better Lovecraft adaptations I've seen in terms of capturing the type of horror that I imagine H.P. Lovecraft imagined in his brain when he was writing this shit.
Just very mind-fuckery, as well as slight visual, body horror and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, brief overview is The Color Out of Space is about a family living in a Massachusetts woodland, and they're farmers essentially. Well, in this adaptation, Nick Cage also seems to have had another career, maybe as a writer.
He was a writer, and then
His wife was like an investment banker, like trading in stocks and stuff.
And he took over his dad's farm or whatever, and then they invested in alpacas.
Yeah,
for the
which is
milk
a
and
weird
or something. That was such a weird little subplot. Not really a subplot, but
I mean, it factors
They
in for
did
some
come
great
up a
horror
lot.
late in the film,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like weird hill to die on in
Yeah.
that script. It played a major part.
it did. The llamas were brought up a lot, or alpacas, whatever the fuck they were.
And Nick Cage and his wife have 2 children. They're stereotypical, probably the poorest, or 3 children. 2 boys and then their witchy daughter.
Right.
And so this family one day finds a meteorite crashed into their front yard, and it's emitting this weird color, which obviously this is something they're never going to be able to do because we can't bend the laws of physics and whatnot. But in the story it's described, and they even use it as one bit of dialogue in it, that it's a color that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah.
And obviously in this, it's just some weird pinkish purple.
Well, and I guess that helps with. I mean, like you said, you can't describe it, but I thought it was kind of weird how when he's talking to the police and describing the color, he's like, "It's pink," but then he's like, "No, it's a color I've never seen before." I don't know. I just thought that was a weird little. Why didn't he just say it's like a color I've never? I just thought it was kind of stupid to be like, "It's pink."
Well, hold on a second. It's actually...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But in the book, there's not anything like that. It's just always described as like, this is no color a human's ever seen before. And it's like, well, it is to be expected because, you know, these guys are just filmmakers. They're
Well,
not
and you have to
gods
have
who can-
a visual thing. Like, the audience has to know,
Right,
too.
you can't just have no color there and have them try and act like there's something there.
Right.
Because then the audience will just be like, what's going
Which,
on?
in reality, could help play with the mindfuckery type Lovecraft film. I'm just saying. Even fuck with the audience.
Maybe.
I mean,
It'd take a deft hand to pull that off, though,
Right.
without it just looking cheesy as fucking hell.
Right. So that was meteorite, and then was the water guy added in for the movie, or was there
No.
one in the book too?
He's in the book. He's the main character of the book because, as with most H.P. Lovecraft stuff, it's told from the first person.
Right.
And that little monologue he has at the very beginning of the film is actually the opening lines to the story.
Okay.
But yeah, he's fleshed out a little bit more because H.P. Lovecraft never really expounded on his characters when he was writing from the first person. Like, you might get little tidbits of their history and stuff, but, you know, he's left kind of blank so the reader can feel like, oh, I'm inhabiting this character right now.
Yeah.
And so following the crash of the meteor, strange things start happening. The family starts exhibiting different types of behavior. And, yeah, that's really all I want to say without going into too
Spoilery?
deep. Yeah. Because I don't know where I was going with that. So what were your general impressions? I mean, I know you already said you liked it.
I did like it. And it was for a lot of reasons, but mainly because it was it kind of felt like a combination of Mandy and Annihilation.
I don't think I've ever seen Annihilation.
You didn't see it? It's basically the same fucking plot, because I think, and I might be wrong, but the book that Annihilation was taken from was inspired by Color Out of Space. Because it's literally, meteorite hits, there's a weird light in the forest, and the light slowly starts corrupting and twisting the land like what happens in Color. And it's all like visually good, and this whatever is in the light starts mixing species. Like, there's a alligator shark hybrid and like deer.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, it's well,
A shark-gator?
It looks just like an alligator, but it has shark teeth. So like yeah, it's really cool. Like, starts off sci-fi, then slowly devolves into a horror movie, which I fucking love.
That's
Annihilation,
awesome.
man.
I'm gonna have to check that out now. That sounds great.
So yeah, I love color for that reason too. I think we talk about this almost every fucking time, but I should be a bigger Lovecraft fan than I am because I love that cosmic
horror
shit.
is the greatest.
It is so fascinating to me.
Well, I like it too because it always plays up the insignificance of man. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, we as a species tend to be quite full of ourselves because we think just because we're the top of the food chain, we're the most important thing in this unknowably large universe.
Yeah.
When the reality is that, no, we're on one little rock in one little tiny part of space just kind of spinning in circles till we die.
And I fucked up already. I said combination of Mandy and Annihilation. I meant to say The Thing and Annihilation.
That's fair.
Was the Thing.
Yeah.
Just for a few parts, but...
even that's slightly based off Lovecraft as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. But
it's crazy. Like, the more I get into reading H.P. Lovecraft stories, the more I see his influence and shit that I've loved growing up and stuff like that.
Right. Fuck, even Mass Effect.
Oh,
There's a few
yeah.
missions in there where you're like, wow, this is really Lovecraft kind of shit. But I digress. Anyway.
I mean, Dead Space is a perfect example of it, which is why I'm so excited for Moons of Madness.
Yeah.
One thing that I cannot give this movie enough props for is... Obviously, there's some CG in it because it's a mid-level or mid-budget horror film. But when they absolutely could, like anytime they could, they used practical effects.
And even with that, which, yes, fuck yes, please keep doing that shit. God, it's a dying practice and I miss it. But the trailer made it look like even more low budget.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, hopefully it's still kind of good. But then, like, some of the CG parts you do see, they looked...
perfectly
passable.
fine.
They really did
better
look
than
good.
some of the big budget movies we've seen.
So that was impressive to me. That was really good.
No, that is one of the things that this movie has going for it. Is it's so nice to see a horror movie that somebody put some money behind that isn't done by committee. This is very clearly the vision of a director who has a really competent team on his hands, and they all worked very well together to create a really, really solid horror film.
Hell yeah.
It might be one of my favorites ever
Nice.
at this point.
Ever?
Yeah.
That's
I think
huge.
it finally kicked out Event Horizon out of my top 5, which it was a recent addition. But
I think you're about the only person I know that actually enjoyed that movie.
Event Horizon?
I mean, like, without making fun of it. Like, you legit think it's a good movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great. It's got Lawrence Fishburne, who's fantastic in everything.
Right.
It's Lovecraftian in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Clive Barker did some concept work for it while the movie was in pre-production. That's why the sphere in the core that runs the ship in that movie, that's why a lot of it looks like almost church steeples protruding from it.
Yeah.
Because it's a Clive Barker design, and I'm just like, ooh, yes, Clive, you sadomasochistic weirdo.
Then it's got Sam Neill, who was in also Mouth of Madness.
But we've talked about that before, how Sam Neill, Event Horizon and Mouth of Madness are two examples of the kind of performance you can get from him as an actor depending on the director.
Right.
Because Event Horizon is Paul W.S. Anderson, and so Sam Neill's actually the weakest part of that film.
Exactly.
Mouth of Madness,
Was
John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Sam Neill's the best part of that fucking movie. He gives a hell of a performance.
Mm-hmm. And who was I watching? I think it was a Nostalgia Critic, maybe. He was doing Event Horizon. This was a couple years ago. But
I think I've seen that one recently.
yeah, but he was dogging on like the lack of gore, but then there was like a deleted scene at the end.
Oh yeah, it's the video they find.
Yeah!
Where it's a hardcore like, blood orgy.
That movie would probably make it easily my top 5 horror movies.
Oh,
like, if they would have
left
stuck with
that
that all throughout, fucking A.
They got hit hard with censorship. That's why I can still enjoy the movie the way I can. It was like, I know what you were trying to do.
Right.
And you guys just got screwed making this film.
That's fair.
And like I said, only good film by Paul W.S. Anderson.
Now he's doing Monster Hunter.
I know. How that hack ended up with Mila Jovovich, I will never understand.
Yeah.
He must be hung like a bull elephant.
You know? Or... Nah.
Maybe
I've
he's
seen
got a great
interviews with him.
personality.
Maybe. Even his interviews are kind of... It's like, what the fuck?
But we've gone woefully
Mila,
off.
blink twice if you need help.
We digress, though.
Yeah. Anyway, back to color.
I thought I really thought it was annoying. Like, this is one of my biggest complaints in that whole movie, though, is the daughter for Color Out of Space. Like,
she was very uninspired. Yeah.
She felt written by a person who doesn't understand teenage girls.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
And making her a witch was...
That was
felt
honestly my
unnecessary.
biggest problem, too, because... and I don't know if this is spoiler territory, but if it is, spoiler. I really thought that would play a bigger part. Because, again, I never read the book, but I know there's, like, always a cult with, like... Cthulhu
Not always.
Not always, but...
And that one in particular doesn't have a cult or anything like that.
I kind of thought it would be kind of cool if, like... She didn't summon the meteorite, but she had some kind of insight. Like, that witch part would play a bigger role. Instead of it just being some weird angsty teen thing.
If they had fleshed it out better, instead of just be like, oh, look, she's a witch, and we're not going to do anything with that.
But she wasn't, yeah, exactly. It was just filler shit.
Yeah, it's like, it was a poor attempt at giving her, fleshing her character out better, in my opinion.
Right.
Because it serves no purpose in the film. It's just like, oh, this is what separates her from the rest of her normal family. Whereas with the movie that we got, I think it would have worked better if she was just a normal girl. Like, she could have just been a goth chick or something like that.
Right.
And it wouldn't have felt as out of place. Mm-hmm. Like, she could just be that angsty teenager who likes to wear all black and, dyes her hair a certain way and listens to certain bands.
Yeah.
Instead of, having this weird paperback copy of the Necronomicon. And you know what?
Which is also Lovecraft, though, right?
Yes, he invented the Necronomicon.
That's why I was kind of stoked. I literally thought it was going to be...
Yeah, but that would have been bound in human flesh if it was the real Necronomicon. And you know what? I've been, pondering this in my mind. Just how fucked up do you think the world would be if the actual Necronomicon got printed enough to be a mass-market paperback book?
Ooh.
Just like everybody and their mother trying to summon demons and shit with this fucking book. It'd be a hellscape. It'd be Doom Eternal.
My husband's cheating. Get the book.
I got it on sale at Barnes & Noble.
No, that would be fucking... Yeah, that would be crazy. Well, obviously we have to talk about the dude who stole the show was fucking Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yeah.
Again. Fucking guy. It's... almost meta,
his acting style these days. Well, that's one of the fucking things that I find so interesting about Nicolas Cage is the man, especially in his later years, has really leaned heavy into the I'm gonna just ham it up. I'm gonna chew the scenery. I'm gonna overact the shit out of everything. It's amazing to me how much variety he can find in that overacting.
Right.
Because his overacting in this isn't the same as Mandy or as The Wicker Man.
Or Con Air, even.
Yeah, exactly. He just finds a new way to be this intense, crazy-ass guy in every film.
Which is what his career is based off of.
And it's so damn impressive.
It really is. It really fucking is. The man has mastered whatever... It's just Nick Cage. I don't think anybody will ever be Nick Cage.
No, but you get these people who, they may overact, but it's the same kind of shit every role they're in, no matter what.
Sure, yes.
That's why I say for a lot of Hollywood is they're not really actors, they're movie stars.
Yeah.
Because outside of the
Daniel
Day-Lewis's and...
the method actors.
Yeah, the hardcore ones, the Gary Oldmans.
Yeah.
Who...
Well, is Gary... Would he be a method, or is he a character actor?
He's a method actor and a character actor because, Hannibal is a perfect example. He plays this guy that Hannibal Lecter drugged and convinced to cut off, 70% of his own face and feed it to his dogs in the film.
Yeah.
So, in the movie, he, has no lips.
Right, he looks like a butthole face.
Well, yeah, because he only has one eye, and that eye doesn't have any lids. So he has to have,
that was burned in my head as a kid.
A cup that goes over his eyes and sprays it to keep his eyeball moist. And... not only did he wear all that makeup, he studied people with similar severe injuries. Mm-hmm. He went in that movie uncredited, so he doesn't have his name in the credits.
Oh.
That's how into that role he got.
Damn, I dig that.
And so Nicolas Cage, I don't know if I would consider he's definitely a character actor, I'd say.
But he's always playing himself.
That's
Or
true.
what we are perceived to be Nicolas
But
Cage.
it's always so varied that you can't really call him a movie star because you're
Yeah.
always going to get something different with him.
No,
even
I used to hate him, but now I absolutely love the guy. I
oh
really
yeah, he's become a national treasure in my opinion. I didn't even mean to make that joke.
Damn it.
Sub 5.
It's so bad. Alright, and then
Tommy Chong was
I
pretty
was just
interesting.
about to bring that. I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah,
I thought he did. He was really like subtle, and he was just normal. But then he kind of got creepy towards the end.
Oh yeah,
he pulled off creepy very well.
And I just liked him because once again, yeah, they have him playing as a hippie, but you know he's not too much like Leo from that '70s show or his Chong character from the old Cheech and Chong duo.
Well, he's just more mellow. And
yeah, he's just an old guy.
He's
living
probably
out in
the smartest
woods.
character in the movie.
Do you think they actually filmed that movie out east, or because that looked like it could have also been like the Pacific Northwest where they were filming that shit?
I was getting like British Columbia vibes, wherever the fuck they were.
It probably was somewhere up in Canada since it's so goddamn cheap to film it there.
Yeah,
bastards.
But yeah, that would be spoilers. I'm just replaying the movie in my head.
This is about as far as I want to go spoilery, but like they did a really good job of building tension in this film, and the one scene I'd like to highlight for that is the first time anything really goes wrong for the family. It's the day after the meteorite hits, and they're just watching TV, and the wife is in the kitchen prepping dinner.
Yeah.
And they just do a really good job of just like the very subtle music cue that starts building tension, the tight angles on the shot, and
that feeling of
you're like something's about to happen.
Yeah,
I wonder what.
Yeah.
And then, so spoiler for this part, she cuts her own finger off while she's chopping vegetables. 2 of them actually.
Cuts both her
and
middle and ring finger
leading
off.
up to it, she's very clearly like in some sort of weird trance. She's damn near drooling, just staring off in the distance. She cuts 2 fingers off, not a peep.
Yeah,
and
she just keeps going.
And she just keeps going until the little kid pulls her out of it. And oh god, it like that had me on edge right up until like once the fingers were off, I was like, ooh, that's gross, but like the tension's been released. But damn, and there's several other instances of that in this film that are just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of those slow burn movies. I do love those. And although I didn't think the ending paid off as well as I wanted it to, I don't know if that's the book was the same or whatever, but it's just weird to me, I guess. I don't know. It didn't.
Yeah, the ending differs in the fact that, like, in the end of the book, the only one left alive is the father, the patriarch of the family, but he's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. They talk about how they've seen lasting effects in other parts, like they mention Arkham, the city created by Lovecraft a lot, and how the guy who's writing this story, he's like, I'll never drink the water there again, knowing that shit's still in there.
Right.
But they talk about it like it's weakened, but still
And that's
there. And yeah, it just kind of ends. So I honestly kind of, since it's a movie, I prefer the way it ended.
Yeah.
In the movie as opposed to the book, because that would have been super anticlimactic.
Right. I guess it just upset me because I have way more questions than I got answers.
Oh, that's how you're supposed to feel at the
I
end
guess,
of it.
which is fair given the source material.
I'll say this much: it wasn't a happy ending, and
no,
I liked a lot.
But back to the water thing, because we kind of glossed over that, and the water guy itself. That what happens is when the meteorite crashes, it ends up burrowing into their well and into the
affects the water table.
Shit. Like it infects the water for the entire town.
And not just that, but it affects the land itself. Like crops are turned disgusting, even though they look huge and ripe and great to eat.
But that's just on their property. So
right, its reach doesn't extend that far. But what it does to the water affects the whole town.
Right.
And new species start popping up that have never been seen before. But yeah,
It was really good.
All in all,
Weird,
a solid
yeah.
movie, especially for a mid to low budget film.
Yeah, that was probably the most surprising
They
part,
managed to
for
pull off a
sure.
lot of good shit with only one, and he's not even really a big name actor anymore. He's just somebody who's been around forever.
Yeah.
So if you like horror movies that have some humor, one thing I would like to bring up too, the alpaca milking scene. Like, I was unsure about the movie because the first 10 minutes or so focuses heavily on the daughter.
Uh-huh.
And then we start seeing the rest of the family, and we get to the scene where Nicolas Cage is milking an alpaca, and it is just so weird and so funny that by the time that scene was over, I was like, all right, you know what? Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to enjoy this movie to some extent.
That's
because
one of
that
those
was fucking
scenes
funny.
where you're like, were they really planning on filming that day, or was Nick just kind of doing Nick?
He's like, hey,
things?
bring the camera. I want to do something real quick. I'm going to milk this alpaca.
What?
You heard me.
Hey, alpaca, I want to milk you.
That poor alpaca is probably the best day of its life.
So, since you are the residential Lovecraft fanatic and expert, I can't remember what podcast it was, but we were talking about how no one has yet or maybe ever will adapt a good Lovecraft story. Is this an exception?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so. This is a very good adaptation, and that's the thing is like a lot of these adaptations are super, super low budget
Yeah.
because most of it's in the public domain, so pretty much anybody can get their hands on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes a lot of them bad, is just like these are, you know, probably student filmmakers or like just starting out filmmakers, so they don't have the resources, they probably don't have the experience on the set, so they tried, but they're not great.
Mm-hmm.
And there are good adaptations, but I've found, at least personally for me, the best adaptations are the ones that keep the idea in spirit, but severely alter the guts of the story.
Yeah.
And a lot of that being because nobody has the money to put up to do these period pieces because of how old some of these works are. Like, a perfect example is Reanimator.
Right. Which isn't a Lovecraft book or anything, but it's...
It was a serialized, like, novella.
Oh, it was? Okay. I didn't know that.
And
I thought it was just, inspired by his works.
No, that's an HP. It's the title of the Lovecraft story is Herbert West Reanimator, and it's a lot more serious than that.
Goddamn, sorry.
But it starts off in like the late
eye.
1800s and goes all the way up to. Cause have you seen the sequel?
The
The Bride of Reanimator.
I don't think I have. No.
So the sequel, there is a couple scenes where it shows Herbert West and his assistant from the first movie. They're now serving in the military in Vietnam as field medics.
Isn't that the one? Okay, I think that's where the chick is just so heavily dismembered at the end of the video or movie, she just fucking explodes or something.
No, that's Return of the Living Dead 3.
Return of the the fuck am I
With the
thinking
punk rock chick who...
I don't think that's it. Brighter. That's the one where he takes parts from other people, right? And puts her together.
That's right, because only her head survives.
Yeah, it's the head. Okay,
Man, you're right. I was getting them mixed up.
so I did see that one.
But yeah, there's a couple of scenes where Herbert West and his assistant are serving as field medics in Vietnam. The time frame for that in the books is actually the First World War.
See, that
so
would have been cool.
That would have been cool, but that would also mean you'd have to be able to build a set of a college from the late 1800s, early 1900s, and have all your characters and all your extras dressed in that period. And that shit costs a lot of money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it's not
That's why
like
the
you
witch
can,
only had 4 fucking characters.
exactly. But it's not like you can, just go to a Goodwill and find some Edwardian era suits.
Right.
That just doesn't work that way.
Costume design turns out is fucking expensive.
Oh yeah, because that's also a dying art.
Yeah, fucking A.
So yeah, I find the best adaptations are ones where they're like, okay, here's the core of the story. Guy does X, or X happens to Guy. And then they're just like, all right, how can we tell it in a modern day setting and make it a good story.
Yeah.
Reanimator does that wonderfully, especially leading into the comedy of it. And Color Out of Space does the same thing. Like, it adds enough levity to the situations to where it's just not this bleak, humorless movie that makes you want to kill yourself by the end of it, while also being dark enough to affect you and leave you walking away satisfied for the most part, other than the myriad of questions you have by the end of it.
Right.
But I actually enjoy the ambiguity of it.
Yeah, that's fair. Totally. So, I mean, I'm kind of a walking, what's that word? Where I have two, like, hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite.
Okay.
Or whatever, because I said I like slow burn movies, which I fucking do, but I also am a slut for creature movies. So, it's kind of like, I want the money shot in these movies, but according to...
God damn it.
Hey! I'm talking! I'm just kidding.
Sorry about that, folks.
What was this? Oh, yeah. So, sorry, my
Money
contact
shot.
is really fucking bothering me for some reason.
Are you dying?
I might be.
Oh, no.
Better go out with the bang.
Should have gotten some whiskey.
So, yeah. But just reading up on the lore and stuff, like, Lovecraft wasn't about the monsters. It was always about the psychological effect that they had on you without ever showing them.
The fact that there is these creatures from space.
Right. That can mentally fuck you.
Well, that are so
billions of
grotesque and
light years.
unknowable that...
You can't fathom what they look like.
Yeah, and to see them would shatter one's grasp on reality.
Right. And that's why I was always bummed about the Call of Cthulhu games, because he's rarely, if ever, seen. The only time you ever really see him is like in a statue or something.
Well, that's just like, and spoilers for anybody who actually wants to play this game, it's a few years old now. I just beat the Call of Cthulhu like last week.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's not in the game unless you specifically pick the ending where you give in to the cult and help them summon him. And even for then, it's like 5 frames.
Right.
And then it cuts to credits.
Then that's where I'm like, fuck you!
That's why I like South Park so much. They did the Coon and Friends episode where he summons Cthulhu. Mm-hmm. Like, even though they made him real goofy looking, they made him all fat and slow.
Right.
It's like, yes, finally somebody's just letting me look at him.
So, that's always been my biggest issue with these movies, so it's whatever.
I mean, you still got some good money shots in this film.
No, you did, but yeah, I mean, specifically the whatever was in the meteorite.
Oh,
that was a letdown for me. Whatever the fuck. Yeah, I won't say the ending, but anyway, that's where I always, when we're doing with like the old Cthulhu games and shit, whatever. I'm done with this shit.
All right. Well, then I guess
Guns Akimbo.
We're gonna take a quick break, real quick. Got to pay them bills. And then we'll be talking about Guns Akimbo.
You're paying bills with these podcasts?
No, I wish. Jesus. It's a turn of phrase.
Okay.
But anyways, we'll be right back.
Bye.
All right, that was our hastily recorded Anchor commercial. Unless you're watching this on YouTube.
It is for Anchor. Well, you didn't put one on the YouTube one.
No, I don't put them on the YouTube ones. If
it's just kind of funny.
I know. But if you listen on Anchor, we'd get some ad revenue from that, Tyler. Told you like
I'm
5
subscribed
times.
to the channel, so when I get the notification, our podcast
Anchor
pops up.
is a free app. Just download it and listen to it on there.
I think I have it. Don't yell at me.
I'm yelling.
You're whisper yelling. It's even worse.
That's because I don't want the
so
audio.
passive aggressive.
I will hit you with my ring hand. All right. Anyways, this has been a really unfocused and messy podcast so far.
Really? I thought we were doing all right.
I mean, we keep getting off track. And
I'm getting a little more buzzed.
That was the least spoilery review we've done so far, though.
I'd like to get better at that. I mean, not that we have a huge listener base.
No, but instead of telling everybody every scene of the fucking movie.
A lot of shit.
Yeah.
Anyways,
hey,
it's whatever.
I'll let you introduce this one since you're all about it. I'm all about it too, but Lovecraft's my thing, so you go ahead.
Well, and I'm kind of mad at myself because I wanted to rewatch this one.
I only had it. It's not available to buy yet. I could only rent it.
Really?
Yeah.
On Prime?
Yeah.
I think you can buy it on Xbox.
No, maybe not. I checked there first.
Oh, I did try checking. Yeah, it was still
it's for rental only.
Weird. Anyway, well, oh fuck. Okay, well,
Yeah, it
anyway.
sucks, but
I did really want to rewatch it because when I first watched it, again, I was kind of... It's one of those nights where you just like, you have one beer and it turns into fucking 20. I mean,
yep, I know how that goes.
that happened to anybody? Anyway.
This is also a part-time Alcoholics Anonymous podcast.
Yeah.
As we're drinking our beer because we're the worst kind of AA goers.
But, so it's basically, it's not really dystopian future. It's set in our society like now.
Well, tell them what the movie is first, you dingus.
Guns Akimbo.
There we go.
I thought we said that like 5 times.
Yeah, but still, a proper introduction to the review.
Sorry.
We would reiterate the name.
We are talking about Guns Akimbo.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Attenborough.
Now this is David Attenborough. Guns Akimbo, featuring Harry Potter and the chick from every horror movie ever made.
Really? Samara Weaving's been in a bunch of horror movies?
Bro, I'm telling you, not a lot, but I really want her to be like the future Scream Queen.
Oh, she definitely could be a Sigourney Weaver
Or a Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Like, I really think she is our generation's Jamie Lee Curtis. Anyway, it's about a video game developer who hates his job because he was working for a big company and then he got moved to a mobile department for a mobile phone game. And that already in itself, because just the humor, like, these people who are writing, or the director, someone, they're all fucking nerds. I understood.
Yeah, they're totally gamers.
Every reference in this movie, and I had a big ass smile on my face. And it's about him, and a underground, almost kind of like bum fights or
It's an illegal
live
web
leak.
series.
Yeah, it's very
essentially.
dark side of the web series where they gather these criminals together and have them kill each other for money. And it sounds stupid on paper and that's why I like this movie, because a lot of the logic flaws were like, well, how the fuck are they getting away with it? And then you find out like the cops are actually diligently working on finding how these people are doing this shit, like,
or bought and paid for.
Yeah, exactly. And I like this movie a lot, man.
I do too.
Sorry,
You know what it reminds me of?
Yeah.
After thinking about it, not the book by Stephen King, or I think it would actually be Richard Bachman, but the film adaptation starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Running Man.
The Running Man. Thank you. That was the one I kept thinking of.
It's very similar to that.
Yes.
Only it's not run by the state.
Mm-hmm.
It's criminal activity. But in terms, it's very similar. Daniel Radcliffe, his big character flaw in this film is that
He's an internet troll / sociopath.
yeah, well, he's a troller of the troll. Like, he takes that high and mighty. Like, he's not the one saying disgusting stuff. He's the one. He's
right.
He's
but
a
he's
PC
always,
cop.
He's still
basically.
just fishing for attention
Reactions.
online. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's what gets him in trouble, because he starts trolling the website that these. What is it called?
I don't remember what the show is called.
Shit. It's the guy's name.
Schism.
Schism. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Schism. I remember thinking that because it's the Tool song. Every time it comes on, I'm like, Schism.
Schism.
Anyway, so yeah, the website's called Schism, and that's where they run this fucked up game show. And he starts trolling on there, and the
Pisses
dude
off the
track his
owner
IP
of the-
address.
yeah.
Pisses off the owner, the founder of all this shit. They track him down and kidnap him, and he wakes up with two. I don't know if they're like 1911s, or I don't know the exact gun type, but two pistols
Big ones.
Big ones.
They're no 22s, that's for sure.
bolted to his fucking hands.
And, like, they have essentially finger guards over it,
Yeah.
and for each one, it's drilled directly
into his knuckles. Yeah, like, or
the in-between
finger
part of the
knuckle.
knuckles, and then a big bolt going through the pistol grip into the palm and back of his hand. Ugh, this beard's getting to me, sorry. And it looks disgusting. Like, that was some good practical effects, too. We were talking about that for Color Out of Space.
Yes.
Like, that shit looked infected and painful.
Yeah, it got progressively worse as the movie went on. And, no, I love that little attention to detail shit.
I wish they could have expounded more on, like, how having all those bolts in his hands were affected by firing the guns. Because I can only imagine, like, if Stephen King were writing that, every time he pulled the trigger, you feel those bolts grinding against the bones and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I'm just I'm giving myself the willies just talking about it.
And his they give him a task / ultimatum because this tournament has a reigning champ played by Samara Weaving.
Who she goes by the name of Nyx in this.
Nyx, yes. And she's the, like I said, reigning champ. She gets all the kills. She's the badass motherfucker, the Bruce Campbell of this world. And they task him with killing her, this dude who's never shot a gun in his life and is just the internet nerd. And I just love this polar opposite concept. It's fucking
one's a highly trained, ruthless sociopath, and the other one's just this timid nerd who's a keyboard warrior. He's only tough when he's behind a computer.
Exactly. And yeah, that's basically the gist of it. And
I will admit, when first watching this movie, like the first 5 minutes or so, I found to be very concerning because it's a scene where Daniel Radcliffe's doing his trolling online, and you're watching the fight between Nyx and like this truck full of other guys, and it's a high-speed shootout. And I was worried because it was a lot of Michael Bay type action filmmaking, a lot of really tight angles with a shaky camera, quick editing. It's really hard to tell what's going on, and that made me nervous.
That's fair.
But luckily, that's about the only time they really use that style of editing.
And
the
that's
rest
where
of the
I'm
fights are really well choreographed.
Yeah.
And
well, you
like,
can
they're
tell
nice
what's
and
going
wide,
on.
see what's going on.
They're not close up via Michael Bay.
And they're just really well done. Like, the choreography's spot on. It's exciting. It gets your blood pumping.
Which is what makes me think, like, because this is a very self-aware movie.
Oh, definitely.
So it makes me wonder if they did that on purpose, making
and
you think
they
like
very
it could
well
be a Bay-esque fucking thing.
Just a little fake out for people who like recognize that style of filmmaking.
Well, what's the most recent one he did? Something 6 on Netflix. It's with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh,
6 Underground.
6 Underground. Didn't that have like? No, I'm thinking of a different one. The one with Ben Affleck and a bunch of other people.
Oh, that was
came out recently as well.
I know what you're talking about, and I still need to watch it. But no, this one is. I don't want to get off topic, but it's a heist movie or whatever with Ryan Reynolds, and it's basically one long car chase the first half of the movie, and it's some good scenes, but again, Michael Bay really loves those close-up shot, like
the quick cuts with the shaky
quick
camera.
cuts and like fucking 95 different cameras on one fucking block to get every angle. It's like, dude, come on. Yeah, but so I think this movie was kind of mocking that.
And you could absolutely be right about that.
I hope I am, but either way.
If not,
it was
they
just one fucking
unintentionally
scene
pulled
anyway.
off some magic with
Right.
that. And I felt like this is a very style over substance kind of movie.
Yes.
Like, the characters, other than Daniel Radcliffe and Nyx, are pretty thin. Mm-hmm. They're cardboard cutouts, but all the actors give a good performance, and it's so stylishly fun and mindlessly violent that you just get swept up in it. It's fucking great.
Sorry, I'm looking up the dude. I meant to do this earlier. The guy who played Schism, because
he's a British actor.
Is he British?
Yes.
Because oh my god! No. I thought that was the guy that played Jorah. It's not him. Looks kind of just like him, though. No, he is. It says right here, Ned Dennehy is an Irish actor.
Okay,
That's
Irish.
why I was going to bring that up, because for the most part, he had an American accent, but there was a few scenes where he sounded very Irish. Like,
He was good, though.
Irish.
I feel like I've seen him in other stuff. I can't put a finger on it, though, because they have him heavily tattooed and completely bald in this film.
Right. Where was I going with that? But
He
I
was probably
did
the best
like his
part of the movie,
performance.
though.
I really did. I thought he was a very good bad guy. Good bad guy. What an oxymoron.
Right. But this movie really does remind me of like an old 80s action flick.
Absolutely.
Because it's not so much about the plot as it is like what kind of cool action scenes can we put together, and can we have a character that's likable enough to carry this film? And they nailed it on
Daniel
both fronts.
Radcliffe delivered.
Yeah, I've become more and more of a fan of his. Like, I was a huge fan because I'm a Harry Potter nerd through and through. Mm-hmm. Like, that was my Stephen King before I was old enough to read Stephen King. And he's just, the more he's gotten to work outside of that Harry Potter franchise, the more he's shown himself to be just like a talented motherfucker who can do a whole bunch of different shit.
Not even talented. It's just, I like when people are just who they are.
Very charismatic.
Nerdy, like Elijah Wood too. I was reading an article or something about just, I think it was maybe a review of this movie. I'm not even sure. I spent a lot of fucking time on the internet, but what caught my attention was that all these child stars these days have like this stigma that they have to be the best of the best. Like, they have to maintain their starhood or they're going to fade out of existence. And Elijah and Daniel have just gone the polar opposite and like, we're going to do whatever the fuck we want because we like doing weird stuff.
Like, we made enough
Swiss
money.
Army Man. Like,
I need to see that movie again. The one time I ever watched it, like, I had a hard time following it because I think I'd been up for over 24 hours and I kept dozing off during it.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at it unfavorably, but at the same time, I also realized...
It was definitely a weird fucking goofy
I like Paul
movie.
Dano, too, which is why I wanted to see it.
Yeah, right.
So I need to go back and watch it.
It's
I kept falling asleep.
At the end of the day, it was I like that movie a lot. Just solely for, it's like, imagine, who was that chick? Like Chloe Grace Moretz doing a stupid movie like that. She'd be like, no, fuck you. But
I'm a real actor.
But Danny Radcliffe's like, yeah, fuck yeah. I'll play a corpse that farts like a motorboat. And like, dude, it's weird.
He's got an interesting filmography, though, because he did all 7 Harry Potters, well, 8, because they had to break up that last book into 2 movies.
Right.
He did Horns, which is a Joe Hill novel.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Horns. That was a good one, too.
And Joe Hill, Stephen King's son.
Yeah.
That shit's awesome.
I forgot about
He
Horns.
did the flatulating one. I'm not sure if I've seen him in anything else. And then, of course, Guns Akimbo.
That's exactly... He just does these weird offshot, like, indie movies.
And bringing it back to Elijah Wood, he's got that Come to Daddy or whatever that's...
Again,
comes out
weird,
equally weird
indie movies. But
that looks fucking awesome.
And he also did one...
He did The Faculty, which is one of my favorite, like, late 90s, early 2000 horror sci-fi films.
Yes! Forgot about The Faculty.
I always feel bad for him in that movie because the first time you see him in that whole thing is he's being picked up by like 6 kids and they rack him on a fucking flagpole, like 3 kids on one side, 3 kids on the other, legs spread, just balls to the flagpole, and you're just like,
yep.
ah, oh god. And I'm pretty sure I was going through puberty the first time I saw that movie, so like heightened empathy for that poor kid.
Yeah, he just does these from. It's been a hot minute since I've. The last one I think I saw him in was Elijah Wood. Cooties?
I haven't seen that.
Rainn Wilson and that's a guilty pleasure movie of mine.
God damn.
Hey, you're
why
a
can't
busy
people
guy
just
today.
leave me alone? That was an alarm.
Oh. Anyway, Elijah Wood. Again, though, for those that don't know, he was also a producer on Color Out of Space. That was cool.
That's
Thought that was really
awesome.
cool.
Lovecraft represent.
Anyway, I'm fangirling over these 2 dudes, but I really enjoy them because of just how non-celebrity they are.
Right. They're like, I still act, but I already recognize I've made enough money to do whatever the fuck I want for the rest of my
and
life.
I respect the shit out of that. It's not a status thing for them, and I fucking love it. So, kudos. Anyway, this movie is just bonkers, off the wall, and it's really fucking funny.
I hope it gets a sequel. They definitely set it up like there could be a sequel.
They did. Although I didn't really like that part. Yeah, it's just me, but...
Honestly, I think that ending works better if there really is no sequel.
Yes.
And that's purely because I know I just said I want a sequel, but now that I stopped to think about it, I was like, I don't see any way a sequel could top this.
Right, and just... I'm okay, I will say that's my least favorite part was the ending. I didn't like that.
You didn't like that?
No.
I see, it's hard because I did like that setup for a sequel, even if it never gets one. But at the same time, now that you say that, if I sit here and think about it for a minute, the way it ends on the rooftop is a much better ending
than
the
that. John Wick ending. I'm like, what? Where the fuck did... Okay. This movie's not as... Spoiler.
It almost feels
It's
like
spoiler.
they gave him that second ending to give him a character arc to
Which
show
he
that he's
didn't-
like grown a pair of balls. But I kind of like him just.
I
Spoiler
kinda,
alert! He fucking supposed to die at the end.
Yes. And I think it would have been either A, much better if he did die, or B, if he just went back to doing... Because they go from... I mean, yeah, he did have that character arc of fucking goofy nerd who didn't know how to do anything, and he slowly... Like, he is smart. Like, that plays a part, too. Like, he uses his brains a lot, but he goes from a goofy internet nerd to all of a sudden the very end is him going to hunt the rest of these people of Schism in a suit. It's just very John Wick style, and I'm like, I don't like that. Like, I wish they would have.
That's fair. See, I keep flip-flopping, flip-flopping back and forth because now that I'm thinking about it, and we're still in spoilers, so sorry and shit. That whole thing is after he gets shot, they do that scene where him and his ex are making out.
Yes.
And then he's like, oh, sorry for the fake out. I'm really
Yes.
bleeding out on the roof.
Which I thought was cool. I did like that.
But see, it follows in line that with the style of this movie and
Yeah.
the tone of it, that they're like, ha, gotcha again. Of course he didn't die. Now he's a superhero.
Right.
So it's just like they keep building on that fake out gag.
Yes.
So that's one of the reasons why I like it.
Okay.
Now
That's fair.
that I've had time to kind of analyze it, it's like they're taking it that one step further where most people will be like, that's a safe place to end. They're like, nah, let's take it one step further.
Right.
Good or ill. We
Which
just
I-
want to be those guys to take it one
Which-
more step.
I mean, hey, that's why I don't write movies. But I wasn't a huge fan of how that ended.
That's fair. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Well, yeah.
I think it was serviceable, especially because
Well, and that's totally fine. But
I think I'm more forgiving because this was never supposed to be some great work of cinema. You know,
No,
it's not
no.
not going to be something that ends up in the Congressional Library
of course,
for
it's
all time.
literally a guy walking around with fucking tiger fucking slippers and a robe with guns
Bolted to his fucking
bolted to his
hands.
hands. Speaking of, I don't know if it was because I was slightly tipsy or what, but there was one scene where it looked like, I don't know, it looked like really, really bad CGI. One of the bolts on his hands wasn't in line with his hand. Like a motion tracker wasn't put in or something. Because he moves his hand and the bolt's like staying still on his hand while
Really?
the hand's moving.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's one, like a couple frames, but I kept looking at it like, what the fuck?
I mean, it very well could have been. I never caught that.
But that's so fucking,
Minute that.
yeah, that's just petty at this point, but...
One of the things I like, and you know, this is whole, depending on how fun a movie and engaging it is, like it really determines the ability for me to suspend disbelief before I'm like, okay, this is bullshit. And this movie's so fun that I'm willing to buy that Samara Weaving's good enough to hit a fucking drone with an RPG while it's in mid-flight.
But she can't hit Daniel while he's running.
Well,
I mean, for plot device, sure, but yeah, it's like she's the best killer in the game, and she can't hit a dude running 2 feet in front of
I
her.
mean, she literally did shoot it through the windows of the car.
But
She was close.
There's a few
You
scenes
just
where I'm
got
like,
lucky.
he would be dead.
That's fair.
But hey, it's the dynamic those two had was really good.
Yeah, Samara Weaving, I want to see her in everything. She is bae. I would worship the ground she walked on like Tarantino worships feet. I'm just saying, like, she charismatic, she's a fucking badass.
Yeah, and she's Hugo Weaving's niece. What more do you want?
So that means she probably speaks Elvish.
Probably. Shit, she could be fucking 2,000
And those
years old for all we know.
those chrome fangs that she has in this movie, like, kind of a turn on.
Yeah, but they also made her look like a fucking meth head. So
I thought more of
that's your kink,
goth
Michael.
vampire.
she had like no eyebrows.
They were bleach blonde. She dyed her brows to match her hair. Because they were there.
I know they were, but it still made her look even more like a meth
It makes
head.
her look like a ghost. a ghost.
Anyway, both surprisingly good movies, and I would recommend them to everybody.
I do have a quick question.
Ah.
The guy in the kilt. What kind of accent was he speaking with that whole time? Was it Canadian?
He wasn't in a kilt, by the way.
That wasn't a kilt?
No, it was like jean shorts with a flannel shirt. It looked just like a kilt, and I had to like really look at it. But yeah, it
Really?
wasn't a
I've
kilt.
been thinking it was a kilt this whole time.
No, it was, yeah, he was wearing just shorts and like a flannel shirt wrapped around it.
What accent was he speaking with?
I'm
though?
not sure. I don't know if he's Irish too, but yeah, it felt off. I don't know.
It felt like a New Zealander trying to do like a Canadian
Yeah.
accent. Because this
Yeah.
is a New Zealand film.
Is it
like,
New Zealand?
From looking it up.
Okay.
And that's why the homeless guy sounds the way he does.
Oh,
Sounded like
Reese
Akimbo.
Darby. No, I have to talk about him. I can't believe I forgot that shit. He was my favorite part of that movie.
He was great.
Fucking, I love Reese Darby so goddamn much. But the shit he was saying, what was it like? No, I don't want to. No, it's part of the plot. I don't want to spoil it, but he's so fucking funny, dude.
I think one of the best sources of humor in this entire film is just the amount of comedy they get out of Daniel Radcliffe trying to figure out how to do things with guns bolted to his hands.
Yes.
'Cause he can't like open doors
Yeah,
or drive
absolutely.
properly. And that's a gag that just runs throughout the whole movie and it gets funnier every fucking time.
Yeah. Especially when he's trying to take a piss. Where he's like missing everywhere, but he's like, you know what? Fuck it.
Just don't
shoot
blow
your
my
dick
dick
off. Yeah. It's great.
So yeah, those are the two movies we watched this week. Fuck, these beers are getting to me too.
I know, and I literally just said we're not going to spoil everything, and I just spoiled this whole fucking movie.
No,
but
we did pretty
whatever.
good, I think. But
This one is more cut and dry than color, so...
oh yeah, there's no real like big twists or turns in Guns Akimbo. It's just
Yeah.
straight up adrenaline fueled,
Yeah.
fun action movie. This might be the most fun I've had watching an action movie since. What are those Statham movies where he has to keep his blood pressure up?
Oh, Cranked.
Yeah, since the Crank movies.
Yeah, my bad. Those were a good time, too.
Yeah, they were.
Stupid and good. I like stupid and good.
Stupid works best in an action film because
It really does.
You're not going to watch a well thought out, well written like character study. You're just going to see shit blow up and a cool dude kick some fucking ass.
And Amy Smart's boobs.
You right.
What?
You right.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
Okay, anyway.
But yeah,
Yeah.
if you like horror movies, if you like action, I'd recommend both these movies.
Fucking A. They're just a grand old time.
And even if you're not a fan of either of those, watch them anyways. Expand your horizons. Get outside your comfort zone.
Exactly.
You might like it. You never know.
You never know. Just like when we talk in a Scottish accent. We're not Scottish, but we like doing it. It makes us feel good. It makes us feel like a greater part of things.
It's true. Makes us feel like we have a place in the world. This insignificant world full of eldritch gods. Sorry. Flashbacks to when I was in a Cthulhu cult.
Oh, you're good. I'm going to go home and worship him.
All right, well, thanks for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe and all that bullshit. And if you're on one of the podcast apps, just keep listening to us. Thanks, guys. I have no idea what we're doing next week. Shooting from the hip coming up. Maybe we'll talk about The Void. That's another really good Lovecraftian horror that I saw recently.
Well, if I can read that damn novel in time, we can talk about that.
Oh, The Dark Tower?
Yeah.
You got 5 other volumes to read.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
You're making me do fucking homework?
It's a comic book, you Nancy.
My attention span is that of a gerbil.
But it's pretty pictures. That should capture your attention.
Oh, you're right. All right, well, anyway, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you all next week.
Be safe. Love each other.
Tyler, no. Hate each other.
Positive message, but positive vibes here, Michael.
Hate each other. Eat the rich.